In this video, I'm going to go over one of the most common problems with these Orion transports. These are great transports. I mean, they are very, very reliable. The reason why they get a bad reputation is people actually servicing them. These transports are picky when you go and clean the mode switch that's under this here. And what happens is they use dielectric grease. Now, there's nothing wrong with dielectric grease itself. The problem is you put too much. If you put too much dielectric grease, what will happen is, because the way the contacts on the switch is a little bit different than most, is they got almost like a contactor where they got a ball at the end of the brushes. It tends to ride over the grease, and then you get weird issues where it'll only eject halfway. People will assume it's something wrong with the transport or the belts. After they put new belts, it's still not ejecting properly, or going to rewind and forward, but then won't go to stop properly and the unit will power off. And that's due to you use too much dielectric grease. What you gotta do is only use enough to where you coat the contacts, and that's it. Don't go ahead and glob it on there, because if you glob it on there, you will have issues. Same thing if you go ahead and use deoxit and just put deoxit there, it causes all kinds of weird issues. Do not use deoxit. Just use a small amount, like a drop or two of dielectric grease, enough to coat the surface of the contacts, and that's it. That's all you need on these. If you do that, it will work reliably like it is right now. So I'll go and put it in stop, and I'll show you what it does. I'll go and go forward. Okay. You can't see the transport on the bottom. I'll also show you a top view too, just because I know people like to see how these transports work. We'll go rewind. All right. And then we'll go ahead and go eject. And then there you go, and you can see ejected the tape fully, and it's in home position where you see the timing mark right there. So now if I go and put the tape back in, and I went ahead and already re-lubricate the bottom of this transport, as you can see. And you can see it works perfect. There's nothing wrong with these transports. When you do it right, they're very reliable. But if you put too much on it, it's gonna cause all kinds of weird issues, and that's what your problem is. You're putting too much dielectric grease in that mode switch, or you're using deoxit. Do not do neither, and you'll be fine on it. So now I'm gonna go and flip the machine over, and I'm gonna show you how it works on the inside so you can just see how it runs. So here's a top view of the deck, and you can see the loading motor right there. But it's not just the loading motor, it also controls the cam on the bottom too, which controls the timing of the deck and so forth. When you do go ahead and put new belts on it, you want to go ahead and make sure this is fully in the, where this here is all the way over here. And then of course on the bottom, make sure your timing marks line up in the home position before putting the belts on there. Otherwise you'll also have some weird issues too as well. I still gotta go and clean off the old lubricant and put new lubricant on the top part. I only did the bottom for now. And I figure I'll go and show you how one of these work. And here, right now, I got my helper, which is kind of pecking at me right now. His name is Cooper right here. And of course, he had to be in the video because he was squawking until he was on my shoulder. Go ahead, go back up, Cooper. Okay, so I'll go and show you how one of these load. And then you can see it thread the tape there, and then the guy just pulled the tape around the head. And that's how it should work pretty much. Of course, it automatically goes into play mode because it is a retail tape. Now if I go to fast search, there you go. You can hear how smoothly it runs. Like I said, these transports are very reliable when you actually do it correctly. Alright, and then we'll go to fast rewind. And this is as fast as this machine could get, because these don't have the rapid rewind or forward. But there you go. Let's fast forward. These are really good machines. And then you can see right there too, it's in the mold. Okay, let's go to Orion. And then there you go. And there's rewind. Now I can go right into play. And it goes right into play. One thing you want to do when also servicing these two is to check the belts if they're hard or anything like that, then go ahead and replace them. Another trick that I'll do with the belts too sometimes, if they're tight and they're new, they're not like, been used for a lot of hours and stuff like that, is I'll use rubber rejuvenator, clean off all the, dirt and stuff off the belt. Then I'll boil the belt for 10 to 12 minutes in boiling water and stuff like that while stirring, so obviously don't sit in the bottom of the pan and stuff, and now bring them right back around. That's a trick I learned years ago and it always worked, it never fails. Now if the belt's too loose or it's really really hard, then there's really not much you can do for it. And right now, as you can see, it's playing the tape, and if you look over there, picture's actually really good on these machines. It's a 4-head machine. And I always liked these particular Orion ones because I had an Emerson one, like I said. And it's always done really, really good as far as picture quality and stuff for a VHS machine, of course. It's not no SVHS or anything like that. But it's always been pretty good on these. And they're overall pretty reliable. Well, there you go. And then we'll go ahead and do the eject tape. And there you go, and you see how the ejects it nice and smooth and all the way up. So if yours is only getting stuck halfway and it's doing weird things, check that mode gear again, make sure you put the right amount of grease and you should be fine. Well, here's the machine fully reassembled, and I guess a bird sitting on top of it. Cooper, I'm gonna put the tape in when you're sitting right in front of it. There you go. I'll go and quickly demonstrate it. Here you go, come over here. You can see it's fully functional now. This playing back video. So it works beautiful now. I will go ahead and do a stop and just show you that it works on forward and stuff. I'll go right into play. Just super good picture, and it should come on in a second or two. There you go. And then I'm going to demonstrate eject. Actually, put stop and then eject. And there you go, it's nice and smooth now. So that's all you gotta do. Just make sure you don't use too much grease when you're doing the mode gear. Make sure you use just a thin layer of dielectric, and that's all you need. And you put too much and it starts acting weird, you probably put too much. So this concludes the video on the Emerson. This one here is VCR 968.